Robin Pope is a 51-year-old married woman living with a dangerous secret. A passionate affair with a man who's already engaged to someone else, an angry husband at home demanding answers, and a loving daughter who is left trying to put together the pieces when her mom goes missing.
And when you think about your mom, what do you miss the most?
Just having a great time and really being able to tell her everything. There isn't another person in my life like that.
A woman whose fate remains shrouded in mystery, and still the talk of the town in the small community of Stevensonville on the western shore of Kent Island, Maryland.
She loved her friends too.
Yes, she did. She would do anything for anybody. You didn't even have to be her friend, and you were her friend.
Within 2 days of Robin's disappearance, a body washes up near her husband's house. But it's not Robin Pope. Cops wonder if there's a connection.
It's frustrating because there's no closure.
Have those lab results come in yet?
And now police doggedly work to crack a case that refuses to go cold.
We know that she was in the water. We know that she drowned. We don't know how she got there.
You believe you'll solve this?
I hope so. Right now, leads have been few and far between.
To all outward appearances, Robin was happily married to Wayne Pope, her husband of 22 years. But Priscilla Hastings, Robin's daughter from her first marriage, says her stepfather Wayne had a dark side that she experienced firsthand at only 7 years old.
He grabbed me by my hair and dragged me to my room by my hair and basically threw me on the floor by my hair. He started to go into fits of rage and, come after me, and I wasn't used to that. So I started running away from home.
She says that even her dog became the target of Wayne's abuse.
If my dog dug a hole outside, he would fill it with water and hold my dog's head under the water. And I just thought that was horrific.
In later years, Priscilla moved out of the house, but Robin's longtime local friend, Debbie O'Malley, says Wayne's treatment of Robin also went downhill.
He was degrading to her a lot. He was very degrading. He wasn't physically abusive to her at all. He would say, "Oh, I think you look terrible, that you look gross." He was always that way with her, just say little things to belittle her.
Priscilla says her mom struggled with breast cancer and weight gain from chemotherapy, but rebounded from both, spending hours at the gym. She kept up her job as a dental assistant through it all, and according to friends, kept up her spirits too. But Priscilla says the marriage was in trouble, and that things really came to a head when Wayne found out that Robin was having an affair with her gym instructor. He called Priscilla to tell her about it.
He sounded creepily calm and said, "Okay."
What did he say to you exactly?
He told me, "Well, your mom's been cheating on me," in a very calm demeanor. So, yeah, looks like, guess we're splitting up.
Maryland State Police Sergeant David Sexton says Wayne told police he discovered the affair after searching Robin's cell phone and then locked her out of the house.
Somehow, Wayne must have grabbed her phone or something and saw some text messages that indicated that she was having this affair with this boyfriend.
But police say Wayne didn't just grab Robin's phone. He reportedly grabbed a gun and headed over to her boyfriend's house that he shared with his fiancée.
He brought a gun to the house, but when he saw the fiancée there, he didn't point it at anybody. He didn't pull it from his waistband, or
he wasn't arrested for this.
No, and they asked him to leave, and he left. So there was no real crime.
Priscilla says Wayne told her that he was stopped by the boyfriend's fiancée.
She came out and started screaming really loud and scared him away.
According to police and friends, Robin moved into a nearby condo after the separation, a place that does not allow dogs, and she had to leave Bella with Wayne. 3 weeks later, she went back to the house under what friends say are mysterious circumstances.
The night before she went to the house, before she disappeared, she wanted to go down to see Bella, and he said, "Oh, I had Bella put down."
Sergeant Sexton says a phone company technician was working at Robin's condo at the time.
The technician just remembers her starting to cry, and he was like, "Hey, is everything okay?" And she said that, "Oh, my husband just told me that he put down Bella, my dog, and then that's when Wayne told her, no, I didn't put Bella down.
Police say Robin texted Wayne that she wanted to stop by and pick up her mail, but Debbie O'Malley believes she was deeply worried about Bella as well.
He said he was going to do something to Bella. Really, that is the only way she would go down there by herself.
Police traced Robin's path along the Chesapeake Bay Bridge as she drove on a cold, late Friday night on the first day of March to Wayne's house. They say she was coming straight from a job interview and dinner in Annapolis, Maryland.
Through phone records and Easy Pass and tag readers that she, we know exactly what time she came over across the bridge. It was about 10:05 in the evening. And we also know that she was texting and conferring with Wayne, her husband.
And that's the last anyone's heard of Robin Pope.
What do you think happened to her?
I think something really bad happened that night, and I think somebody knows.
But who? The secret boyfriend? His jealous fiancé? Her enraged husband? Or could it be someone cops never suspected? Robin has a lot on her mind as she crosses the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, heading for the Ken Island home of her estranged husband, Wayne. Friends say she is stressed by the fallout from her affair with her gym instructor, a man engaged to another woman who has reportedly had a serious run-in with Wayne Pope at her house. The impact of all of it on Robin's marriage is devastating.
She felt really bad about what she did because she really, really loved Wayne. And at some point, I think she really, really wanted to make her marriage work. She wanted to go to counseling, and he didn't want any parts of it.
And they say she is deeply worried for the safety of her aging Great Dane, Bella.
He used to tease about it all the time, telling her that he'd, had the dog put down. He wasn't a nice person with Bella. Robin loved that dog more than anybody.
More than Wayne?
Yeah.
But her friends still wonder why she is compelled to drive to Wayne's house alone that night.
She would never go anywhere without telling anybody, ever.
Police are left with little to go on after Robin's disappearance that night. In the course of their investigation, they check out Robin's gym instructor boyfriend, who is also in the Air Force, and his fiancée, who Priscilla says drove a gun-toting Wayne off their property.
He was a pilot. We actually spoke to his supervisors and his superiors, who told us that yes, he was in Wichita, Kansas at the time that she went missing.
But what about his jealous fiancée? Cops say she's got a solid alibi too. With that, they turn to Robin's husband Wayne, hoping to find more answers.
The question is, why did Robin want to come over there so late? There are a lot of questions about her being alone with him, her not feeling safe around him.
Wayne tells police he spoke with Robin on the phone as she drove to his house. But they say that's where the story gets murky, because according to Wayne, the very next thing he did was fall asleep with Robin less than 15 minutes away.
If you know somebody's coming over, especially your estranged wife, you're going to be, all right, I'm going to stay up and wait for her, and then I have to leave because she's coming to the house. I don't feel comfortable being alone with her. We don't think that he was being truthful at all about, falling asleep. They're just red flags to us. They just don't add up.
Wayne told police he woke up an hour later and went outside to see Robin's car parked in his driveway.
She's sleeping in the car. He knocks on the window and says, hey, if you need to get your stuff, go ahead, get your things. I'm going to my parents.
And then, police say, Wayne got in his own car and drove away.
He said he was going to his parents' house, and then when we talked to the parents said, no, we don't recall him being there.
Wayne tells police he returned to his house 2 hours later, only to find Robin's car empty with her purse, keys, and phone sitting in the front seat, but that Robin and Bella are gone. He says he headed out again to search for her. At some point, he is picked up on a store surveillance camera as he stops for coffee.
He was at 7-Eleven. We have him on video.
What time was that?
That was about 1:07 a.m.
Shortly after that, he stops at Debbie O'Malley's house.
He was very distraught. He said, I just don't know where they are. Bella and Robin, they disappeared. She came to the house. My lawyer thought it would be best if we're not together alone, so I left.
Wayne goes to check on Robin's condo with Debbie O'Malley's daughter, but comes up empty.
So they get back to your house, and at this point, it's what time?
It was about 2:30-ish.
And you tell Wayne what?
He needs to go home and call the police. So, and he did.
911. My wife and I are separated for about a month now, and she came by the house to get some clothes and see the dog. Her car is still here, but she is nowhere to be found, and our dog is missing too. Now, I don't know if she stole the dog. You know, I would give her the dog. She doesn't need to do that. I guess send an officer just so we can, I don't know.
All right, well, I'll get somebody down here.
One of the first things that we listen to, a 911 call from, especially from a spouse, anybody, just to find out what their demeanor was, how excited they were. He was pretty excited. I mean, he was pretty excited about it. He seemed relatively, you know, just scared that his wife was missing. It seemed genuine at the time.
At some point, Debbie says, she remembers calling Robin's cell phone herself.
He said, yeah, but she's not answering her phone. I've tried as well. We went to Wayne's house, and that's when, you know, we saw the car, and I looked in the window. Her keys, her phone, her makeup bag, everything were just laying on the front seat. He said, yeah. I said, but he had me call her. I didn't understand that.
So he was having you call her even though her phone was in her
Yeah,
vehicle.
he knew. They were, just laying right there.
Now living in California, Priscilla gets an early morning call from her younger stepsister, Rachel, the daughter of Robin and Wayne.
I just cried to my sister and said, I'm sorry I can't be there right now. I'll be there as soon as I can. And I jumped on the next plane that I could.
And Priscilla has her suspicions about her stepfather, Wayne.
So you get on the ground, and what happens?
I talk to investigators. I tell them everything about my childhood, how he was, how he treated animals, the things my mom had told me about him recently, just everything that I could to help the case.
The morning after her disappearance, family, friends, and police kick off a massive search for Robin. And that same day, they find a body floating along the rocky shores of Ken Island, not far from Wayne's house. But it isn't Robin Pope.
It's a mystery.
An all-out search is underway on Ken Island, Maryland, for Robin Pope.
The ground searches never stopped. It was constant. Canine dogs, everything. Everything you could think of. People really came out. The community really got together.
A body has just washed up on shore. But it's not Robin. It's her beloved Great Dane, Bella, found dead on the rocks near the water, not far from where Robin was last seen at the home of her estranged husband, Wayne Pope.
Initially, we thought maybe the dog drowned, but we had an autopsy done by a veterinarian.
And what did that prove?
The vet basically told us that she believed that the dog died of exposure, did have a little bit of water in the windpipe. That's indicating that the dog was alive when it went in.
And then, about 2 weeks into the search, another haunting clue washes up on shore.
We were walking along the shoreline, and my girlfriend Carol found the shirt in the water. And we pulled it out, and it was her shirt.
Was there blood on it?
Mm-mm.
Her friends are sure the shirt belongs to Robin.
This was a picture of her with the shirt on that we found.
Just beautiful.
She really was.
But there is still no sign of Robin until 22 days after her disappearance, a horrific discovery and a major break in the case. As police get a 911 call from a man fishing with his daughter off of a pier on Ken Island. They have found a body.
He looked over and noticed something floating in the water and saw that it was a body over near the shoreline, and called 911 right away, and of course we thought it's going to be Robin, and of course it was.
The first thing was relief that her body was found. If they would have never found her, I mean, that would have been worse. The images that go through your mind, the gruesome images that you can't think of your mom, you know, spending 3 weeks in the water, which she must have looked like, or I would say that was probably the hardest part.
I
hated getting that news. I'm sorry. But I needed it. I want the person that did this to get punished.
The body may be found, but the mystery only gets deeper and even more frustrating for the family. They get the autopsy results, but the coroner unable to explain just how Robin died.
They could have said, yes, she was hit over top of the head, she had blunt force trauma, she was stabbed, she was shot, we didn't have any of that. The only thing they could tell us is that she had water in her lungs and that she probably drowned.
Water in her lungs means that she was alive when she went into the water.
There's going to be water in their lungs because they're trying to breathe in air and they drown. You can also have a body that's been in the water for 2 or 3 weeks and water goes into the lungs because it absorbs the water. It's almost like it's a sponge.
Police don't know if Robin was pushed or held underwater, but say at least one piece of evidence indicates that she did not go in voluntarily.
She was wearing high heels. So someone that's wearing high heels, you wouldn't think that would be even anywhere close to the rocks and the pier. But for some reason, something drew her to the pier or to the rocks, and she went in that water.
And she was still wearing those shoes?
Still wearing those shoes.
When her body was pulled out?
Yes.
Anyway, Robin Pope could have committed suicide?
All indications to us that she was not having any kind of depression. I don't think she was depressed about the split between her and Wayne and her talking to her family and friends. There was no indication.
There was a lot for Robin Pope to live for.
Yes.
Police also rule out Robin's one-time love interest, her gym instructor, as a suspect, and they find no witnesses to any foul play.
It's a very quiet community. I don't even think they had any break-ins in that community.
But police say the discovery of Bella and Robin in the same area creates all sorts of scenarios about what happened, some of them involving her estranged husband, Wayne Pope.
Maybe he's walking the dog down the pier and she's running after him, and then he nudges her in or pushes her in, and then he doesn't try to save her. Or she fell, maybe she fell in on her own.
Maybe this was all a big accident.
Right, it could have been a big accident, but the reason that we can't say it's a big accident is because of the way Wayne basically told his story. And
his story's not adding up.
His story is just not adding up, and it's just not consistent with what happened. Somebody put the dog in the water, and I think Robin tried to save the dog. But that's all we got.
Wayne Pope is not charged with any crime in the death of Robin, but police say he remains the only person of interest in the case.
And the more I pressed him about, what he did to his wife, what happened, you can tell me, if it was an accident, it's an accident. Just tell me what happened to your wife. He said, I need to stop the interview. I need to talk to my lawyer.
Later, Queen Anne County State's Attorney Lance Richardson is relieved when Wayne agrees to take a polygraph test.
If he were specifically asked, did you kill Robin Pope? And he was able to say, no, I did not, and not indicate deception, I said, I'll allow you to present that to the public. And if you fail said polygraph, I will withhold that from the public at this time.
But things don't go quite as planned.
Did he walk through the door?
He was there. He was present in the lobby, but before they could get him hooked up and administer the test, he left. So
I bet that was so frustrating.
It was frustrating because I wanted to see where that would lead us.
And State's Attorney Chief of Staff Rob Penny says the invitation to the polygraph exam remains open.
We're not going to stop investigating. And all we need is one break. And if I were Mr. Pope, I'd provide us the information before we have to provide it to him.
That's your best advice.
Absolutely.
With that in mind, we tracked down Wayne Pope and we put the question to him.
Would you talk to us about Robin?
No, I'm at work now, and I definitely can't. And I've talked to my attorney, as we have to talk to.
Well, do you have anything, like what happened to her? Did you kill her?
That's silly.
All right, what are you hiding? Like, why
Why
wouldn't you
take
do the
lie detector?
polygraph? Hello?
But the story isn't over. In an almost unbelievable twist, Priscilla reveals that just 3 months before her mother's murder, her biological father was also found dead in the Chesapeake Bay, just like Robin.
What happened?
The case was closed so fast that all we know is there was a huge bruise on his head, and they found his body in the water.
Eerie coincidence? Priscilla doesn't think so. Her biological dad, Dean Hastings, had been wanting to get back together with his ex-wife, Robin.
He loved my mom till the day he died. There's still a picture of him, my mother, and I, our family photo when I was a baby, in his wallet.
Her father's death has been ruled accidental, but Priscilla now can't help but wonder if it really was an accident.
I have my questions now because my father was still talking to my mother and saying how much he loved her and always would. So who knows? That case was closed so fast, who knows?